There's thousands of other videos on weight loss and they all focus on the same thing. But as you can hopefully tell by my thumbnail, this video is going to be different. Almost every weight loss video talks about your calorie intake.
It's the first law of thermodynamics. Calories in, calories out.
You're not a robot, mate. Your body's way more complicated than just requiring a set amount of fuel. Your body cares about things like nutrients, both micro and macro. Now, I'm not saying a calorie deficit isn't going to work. I'm just saying that there's healthier options. And for those of you who don't know what a calorie deficit is, it's when you eat less calories than what you burn. In this video, I'm going to be going through all the different things that you can do to lose fat whilst gaining muscle at the same time. But before I get into anything, I would like to say that the thumbnail is slightly clickbait, because the way I lost fat was through a calorie deficit. But from my experience, I can tell you that calorie deficits really aren't sustainable and that there is better options. The diet I'm going to be talking about is something I like to call the fat adaptation diet. And I call it that because you're forcing your body to adapt and use fat as its main energy source. Our whole lives we've been lied to. We've been told that carbs are the best energy source and that fat's bad for us because it makes us fat. Are you 5 years old? Just because you're eating fat doesn't mean you're going to get fat.
But I thought that you are what you eat.
And that's exactly why if you eat like a diabetic, you're going to end up on. So let me explain. The reason why eating fat doesn't make you fat is because the fat that's in food is a completely different kind of fat to the fat that's on your body. The good fats that are in food, because there is some bad, are called saturated fats and monosaturated fats. Whereas the fat in our body is called, bear with me, there's a list here: essential fat, brown fat, white fat, beige fat, subcutaneous fat and visceral fat. Very different. It's pretty common knowledge that obesity is a serious problem nowadays, you know. It's obvious. You look around, you're going to see a fat person, a very big one as well, with a third of the UK's population being obese. And people think it's because of high fat diets, when it's not. It's because of constant insulin spiking, which is what I'm about to move on to. If you have a diabetic relative, you would have heard of the word insulin. But for those of you who don't know what it is, it's the hormone that controls glucose, your blood sugar. Type 2 diabetics have to take this, whether it be in a shot or a pill, because their body no longer gets enough insulin. They've become insulin resistant. Here's where the problem is. When you eat carbohydrates, the insulin in your body is spiked, leaving your blood sugar levels room to go crazy. And after a while of doing this repetitively, you become insulin resistant. And yes, that's what I've just explained type 2 diabetics are. But this is why everyone's carrying excess fat, because we've all become insulin resistant. We're all that little bit diabetic. The way to reverse this is actually really simple. Just stop eating carbs for a while, even the natural ones, so that your body's now got time to recuperate and return to its natural levels of insulin. Now you might be wondering, how do I know when I can start eating carbs again? When can I put them back in my diet? You'll be lean.
What? That ain't healthy.
Well, why would you need to be carrying fat? The human body developed the ability to hold fat for the days that we wouldn't eat. But in today's society, we've got plenty to eat every day, so you don't need that fat. So, having very little body fat is the perfect indicator for when you're back to regular health. Now, even then, I'd still give it another week or two because it's just that little bit of extra fat adaptation. Now, you might think, but what? I'm going to lose even more. You're not in a calorie deficit. You're not dieting down. Your body's not going to keep on going and going and going. It's going to get to the level where it's happy and it's just going to plateau. It's just going to flat off. You've probably thought at least once in this video, so what can I eat? And here's a list for you. Steak, 20% minced beef, beef liver, and any other cow meat really, just aim for the higher fat stuff. And if you have access to it, get grass fed. Pork in any form, all parts of a chicken, including the skin, pasture raised if you can. Same goes for eggs. Milk, preferably raw, but if you don't have access to it, get blue. Never fall for green and red because it's just sugar water. Full fat cheese, specifically bought in blocks, because the shredded just has all the crap in it. It's got starch, it's got all these powders. That's why when you get some, you feel like that. Get a block of cheese grater, you're sorted. Full fat Greek yogurt, low sugar fruits, which I'll put on the screen now. Olives, avocados and all the vegetables, but avoid the tin stuff. Nuts, but avoid the already seasoned ones and the baked ones because they put sugar, they put all this and all that. You don't need it. Fish, all kinds, but obviously not fried. And if you can, aim for the wild caught. And any other meat really, just don't fall into the low fat crap. It's a very basic diet and it might seem boring, so if you want you can add seasons and stuff, just avoid those already mixed blends, and if you do go for them, check the ingredients because they often put sugar in them. One last thing that you can do to maximise fat loss is something called intermittent fasting, which is when you don't eat any food for a consistent long period of time. During this you can still drink water. 16 hours has been scientifically shown to be the best amount of time for intermittent fasting, so I recommend not eating after 5 PM and not eating before 9 AM. But of course, you can play around with it. Just make sure you start your fast towards the end of the day. You may now end up on a calorie deficit because of the fasting, which can be okay. Just don't get consumed by the idea of calories, because the only reason why they're prioritising the fitness industry is to make us ignore the other crap that they put in the food. The actual reason as to why I'm so against a calorie deficit is because when you're in one, you look for
low calorie and healthy alternatives.
and you're then sold these low calorie, high protein bricks, just full of crap. Food like this is not only bad for your health because of the ingredients, but it's also hardly ever low calorie. They're just low portion. You serve these little bars that you nibble on, you have eat. You're still hungry after, so you go again and again, and oh dear, you've gone over your calorie limit now. You've lost your deficit for the day. So as I say, don't get consumed by the idea of calories, because you're going to be hungrier than what you actually are, because you're thinking, food, food, food. And you're going to be wanting that low calorie stuff because you're thinking, food, food, food. You're like, oh my days, I need a low calorie something. I'm hungry. Do you know what I mean? You just get driven mad with it. Now, me personally, I do track my calories and I don't use no MyFitnessPal. I use a good old notebook, pen and paper, and maths. Now, it's not necessary. You know, you don't need to get obsessed with it. You can just eat when you're hungry and you'll be fine. However, as everyone who goes to the gym should know, to grow, you do need to be in a caloric surplus, which is the exact opposite of a deficit. You're eating more than you burn. And that's why I track calories, to make sure I'm in one. So yeah, go out of your way. Spend that bit more money. Bump up your food intake. Eat when you're not hungry. Push past that. Eat more. And yeah, that can make the diet more expensive, but you're never going to look back and go, frick, I shouldn't have spent that money on my health. If your main priority is just fat loss, then still take the advice that I've given, because it's the most effective, least starving, and most healthy way of doing it. Throughout this video, if you've been in the fitness industry for a while, you might think, that's not going to work. You have to be in a calorie deficit. Try it for yourself. What are you going to lose? Oh, a bit of money. Your health's going to increase because it's a completely clean diet. There's a chance of you losing fat. You're going to still build muscle because of the high protein. You're going to be salted. There's nothing to risk, really. At most, a few months that you could have spent cutting. Just do it. Try it. I will go through other stuff in other videos, such as what to do when you're done fat adapting. But for now, that's the end of this video. Just before I end the video, there's a few things that I want to add, because I feel like I've left questions unanswered, and I've left some things a bit mysterious. Do you know what I mean? Two big things. This isn't about the diet, this is generally about the video. One thing being, you might realise I'm speaking a bit robotic, being a bit weird with the way I speak, like, now, you can do this and that, the other. And then there's cut-offs, constant cut-offs. It's because I'm trying to organise my videos. I'm trying to speak with a script, so that I don't go on waffling. Like this now, this add-on, I've been recording this for an hour because I keep on ranting, going on and on and on. And as much as that can be a good thing, because I go into depth, it leaves these videos far too long for you to even watch, you know? You're going to zone out by the first minute, and you're going to get to this point where you're not learning anything from me, so I try to keep it short and snappy. And that's one thing I'm going to work on. I'm going to try to be less robotic and more just informational, just trying to teach you and get you a point in your head, and then get on with it. Second thing being my camera. You might realise every now and again it flickers, the focus goes like that. That's just because I've got a new camera. You know, I used to have a crappy little webcam that was like 1,000,000 pixels, and you could literally go across the screen and just count them all like that. I think it was like 720 hertz. It wasn't good at all. Wait, no. Flipping 720p, whatever it is, I don't know. But yeah, I just need to learn the basics of this camera so that I can get it to start flickering. Because if I go like this now, yeah, see there, that focus. I need to fix it, but that'll be fixed as the videos go on. Now, moving on from that, there's a couple points I just want to make. First one being the price. The price of this diet is ridiculous. It's so expensive. It comes to probably about £250 a week, maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more, depending on what you're eating. But it is literally just fish, meat, eggs, dairy, fruit and veg. It's pricey, very, very pricey. You know, if you live with your mum and dad, I'm sorry, but don't, right? Don't. You're excluded from this video, essentially. Listen to what I've said, eat the foods I've recommended, but in a lower dosage. Do the calorie deficit. As much as I hate to say that, go into a calorie deficit. It's almost as if I've succumbed to things, because me living with my family, living with my mum, you know, I'm 14, I've not got a massive house, right? I don't pay for my own food and all this. I do have to be in a calorie deficit, and I'm in one right now. When I recorded the first clip, I was in a calorie surplus, and the rest of this video is the same. It was months ago, and I'd been in a calorie deficit, or flipping surplus, for over half a year. And I'm sitting there with this gut telling you
This is how you get lean. This is how you...
And I just think that's unfair. It's contradictory. It's hypocritical. It's ironic for me to sit there and say that. So now I'm getting lean. I'm getting shredded so that not only am I more of a reliable source, but I'm more relatable to you. So yeah, I'm cutting. I'm in a calorie deficit, but I'm still taking my advice. I'm still eating what I recommended to, just in a low dosage. But if you live on your own, you know, if you've got access to that kind of money, then buy it. Buy the food. Spend 200, nearly 300 quid a week on your food shopping. Because I can guarantee you probably do anyway. You know, you go to your flipping Asda or, you know, Lidl, Aldi or Sainsbury's, Tesco, wherever you get your food from. Yeah? You probably spend about 70 quid a week for yourself. Not much, you know, that's average for a one-person family, you know, live on your own. But then what else are you spending? What are you spending on your paracetamol, on your flipping ibuprofen, on all your pills and stuff that you're buying to make sure that you're healthy and stay well? Because you keep getting ill, because your immune system's horrible. You're catching every common cold in the country. Or what you're spending at the kebab house, the curry house, or what you're spending at the pizza shop. You know, McDonald's, KFC, what you buying? Hey, how much are you spending there? I think you've got the money for it. You just don't want to believe that. So step up, take that risk, buy it. Buy that food, try it. Just 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right? Watch what happens to your health. Most people in today's society's energy levels are going like that. This is something I'm going to touch on my optimal diet video, which is going to be maybe 2 videos from now. Your energy levels are going everywhere, and this diet is going to fix it. So put the money into it. That's for the adults, the people who pay for themselves. But if you're a kid like me, a teenager, and you're watching this, which is probably going to be most of my audience, ask your mum, just like, oh, mum, this week's shopping, can you just, you know, buy more meat? Like, get me some more chicken, get me some more eggs, get me some fruit and veg, stuff like that, you know? And if she brings you stuff, brings you some food that I've not mentioned on my list, then just be like, eat it, be grateful, but say to your mum, like, oh, maybe next week don't buy this one, you know, things like that. Just be respectful, be grateful for what your mum's getting you. Now on to my second point. Try it. You know, try it for yourself. I've said a lot of big, bold, contradictory things in this video, and it might be outrageous, might be unbelievable. So step up and try it for yourself. You'll never know unless you try. At most, you might lose an extra 30 quid a week, which, yes, that's a lot of money that you can spend on other things. Maybe even more than 30 quid, I'm not sure. But it's worth your health. It's worth the chance. Believe me when I say that. Because I can tell you from the testimonies of others, because obviously I don't have my own testimonials at the minute, that it works. You know, somebody else who preaches the same thing as me is Eddie Abu. You might have seen him on TikTok, and I've been watching him for a long time. He preaches the same things, and all of his testimonials say it's worked. He is a 60-year-old man sitting there with abs. He used to have arthritis and he couldn't move. But look at him now, he's doing great. So it's better for you. Try it, honestly. The old heads who are watching this that might think, what's this kid now? He's sitting there with a gut. Oh, you can't even do a calorie deficit. He's not got the balls. Try it. Try it. I'm a 14-year-old putting my finger in your face. Try it. You will never know until you try. Now, some people, like I say, who are going to be watching this, aren't very deep into the fitness industry. They've maybe been to the gym for a few months, and they're starting to touch of it. You know, they've started watching the Trent Twins, the Sam Sulek, and they're starting to learn about it. And I'm here to put this in your head before you get corrupted. Eat real food. Now, arguably speaking, I think that brings me to the end of my explanation. But if there's anything else that I've left untouched and you are wondering, please do comment, because there's probably more things that I have left unanswered and I haven't realised. And I'm here to just give advice. I want to help you lot improve yourselves. Not only in your diet, not only in the gym, but with your life. That's what I want to be doing. I want to be making self-improvement content. And this is my start. This is my beginning. I've made videos before, but they were weird, quirky gaming videos. And I'm done with that. I'm done. I want to help people to grow the same way that I have. So yeah, that's the end from me. Today's verse of the video is Romans chapter 10, verse 9 to 10. Because if you confess with your mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For with the heart one believes and is justified, and with the mouth one confesses and is saved. God bless you all. Amen.